Around the World, Traveling with George, Peru. Our Peru travel starts off with arriving in Lima, and one of the first things you will notice is the normal hustle and bustle of any large city. Lots of jaywalking, so be careful while driving. Probably the second thing you will notice is the high number of female police officers, and I personally believe that Peru has a requirement of being beautiful before the ladies are allowed to apply for the job of police officer. As you will see, they are very beautiful. We decided to visit this outside mall area for the afternoon and found the street crossing is controlled by the walk, don't walk mimes. Watch and learn. You will be safely mimed across the street. As we travel in Lima, we end up at the Peruvian White House, and we happen upon the celebration for the indigenous peoples of Peru. You can hear the celebration and music. There's lots of music, dancing and dining at these types of celebrations in Peru. As you can see, the traditional dress of the mountainous peoples. The area in front of the White House is quite beautiful with Spanish influences in the architecture, as well as beautiful fountains, sitting areas, and flowers. A photographer's dream. When visiting Lima, make sure you have lots of film and be prepared for some very, very beautiful pictures. First, we'll visit the Nicolini Auto Museum and then the Sican Archaeological Museum.
I'm Magali from Around the World Traveling with George. And today we are at Nicolini Auto Museum with Mr. George Nicolini, who is the owner in the museum. Señor Nicolini, when did you start collecting cars?
Cuando tenía 18 años.
What year was that?
1962.
Oh. And when did you decide to open your museum?
Bueno, yo siempre tuve la idea de abrir el museo en algún momento. Y en el año 2003 se dieron las condiciones y lo pude abrir.
Okay. Tell me, how many cars do you have now in your museum?
En exhibición hay 70 autos. En el taller, que también los visitantes pueden visitar el taller de restauraciones, hay 30 más. Y en un depósito tengo 14 más.
And how many different kind of cars do you have?
Bueno, yo tengo más autos americanos, pero también tengo autos europeos, italianos, ingleses, alemanes y franceses.
And what is your favorite cars and why?
Mi carro favorito es un Auburn del año 1935 con Supercharger, Speedster. Un Mustang Shelby 1965, es un auto que me trae muchos recuerdos porque mi padre me regaló uno cuando tenía 20 años. Y un Packard del año 1929, que es el que uso para mis rallies acá en el Perú.
This is a wonderful museum for Peru. What made you decide to open the museum?
Bueno, yo creo que ya yo tenía muchos años recolectando estos autos y los tenía en forma privada, pero yo creo que ya era hora que no solamente yo lo mirara, sino también los peruanos y los extranjeros que vinieran acá al Perú podrían ver los autos que circularon por Lima, porque, por el Perú más que por Lima, porque el 95% de los autos son peruanos, o sea, llegaron al Perú en la época del año que se fabricaron.
Okay. Do you have any special story about buying your cars?
Sí, tengo varias, pero una en especial es de un Clement Bayard del año 1912, que lo conseguí en el centro de Lima, en el RIMAC. Estaba en una casona antigua y me dijeron que había este auto ahí, así que fui a verlo, lo miré por una rendija, pero había un problema, que la puerta de donde estaba el auto, había una zapatería que hacía 25 años que estaba. Entonces hubo que pagarle al zapatero, desarmarle su zapatería, sacar el auto, armarle su zapatería y bueno, ya, irnos, ¿no?
This is a funny story, really.
Efectivamente.
Can you tell us about what was the most difficult car to restore?
Sí, un Renault del año 1908 que una persona o unas personas inexpertas empezaron a reconstruirlo y fueron personas que no supieron cómo desarmar y cómo juntar las cosas. Entonces me lo ofrecieron cuando ya estaba desarmado totalmente, entonces busqué las piezas en varios sitios, las junté y me demoré 2 años en restaurarlo.
Finally, Mr. Nicolini, if you have an opportunity to speak to Peru or the world, what would you tell them about your museum?
Bueno, que aquí hay autos importantes, como el Perú era un país de gente, había mucho dinero y además gente muy fina, muy exquisita, compraban cosas muy buenas, que aquellas personas que vengan al museo se van a llevar más de una sorpresa.
Well, Mr. Nicolini, it's wonderful interview for me. Thank you very much.
No, muchas gracias a ti.
We will now take a quick journey through the Sican Museum, which has wonderful displays from archaeological discoveries dating thousands of years. The displays you will find at this museum are detailed and displayed in the actual way the items were discovered. Enjoy your journey. The Ballistas Island Adventure.
Today we are at Zarcillo Paradise Hostel with our tour guide Jesus Jurado. Jesus, where are we going today?
We are going to Ballistas Islands to see sea lions, penguins, and 9 species of birds.
Now we continue to Ballistas Island, that is over there.
After Magali introduced us to our host, we boarded a small vessel and headed for the Ballistas Island, where one of the first landmarks we crossed was the El Candelabro engraving in the side of the mountain. It's about 60 centimeters deep and 60 centimeters wide. Some people say it was made by aliens, some people say it was made by pirates, some people say it's a representation of the Southern Cross. Myself, I call it a big carving in a sand mountain. After about a 30-minute boat ride, we arrive at the Ballistas Island, where the first thing we notice are the sounds from the sea lions and the birds. Just the massive number of birds and sea lions that you first encounter is just amazing. As the boat slowly makes its way around the island, we see just beautiful architecture and natural-made bridges. And as you look in here, you're going to see hundreds of sea lions just there on the shoreline in the natural-made area. The noise is unbelievable. It's an amazing sight. As we come around the point of the island here, what the camera will be zooming in on are just hundreds of birds, many different species. But if you look close, you're going to see penguins. It's about 85 or 90 degrees right now, and you will see lots of penguins on the side of the rocks there. And as the boat passes around the edge of the rocks here, you're going to see a baby sea lion. If you look close, look fast, the camera moves, but you'll see a baby sea lion, and then we go on to other sea lions just laying and being lazy and resting in the sun. As we round this next corner, you're going to see what I call bird rock, simply because it's a rock covered with so many birds that you can't see the rock. And as we continue on our little journey, if you look really close, you're going to see the massive number of penguins I was talking about, which are all fat right now because it's summer in Peru and they're fattening up for their winter time. And if you look close, you'll see that they are in the process of molting or changing their feathers because of the heat. And yes, penguins do have feathers and they do change them. As we continue our journey, you'll see a few sea lions enjoying the warm sunshine you experience here in Peru. And now we're coming up on a cove that has just a huge number of sea lions in it, and you'll hear all the noises they make in the background. Well, they're actually in mating season right now, and what you're hearing are the male and female mating call. As we leave Sea Lion Cove, we round the corner and you'll see an old-style fishing boat with men fishing. It's amazing in Peru that you'll see such modern equipment and such ancient equipment and men working together. This ends our journey today at the Ballista Island. It's been a great adventure. After our Ballistas Island adventure, we've decided to stay in Paracas and enjoy Juan Pablo's restaurant. From the restaurant, we enjoyed a spectacular view as well as some of the most beautiful dishes I encountered through my entire journey in Peru. Magali will explain.
We are at Juan Pablo restaurant in Chaco Beach from Paracas. Here we have 5 of the house specialties: white fried fish, parihuela, crab with rice, ceviche, fried seafood.
Scuba diving in Peru does require a wetsuit, but the probability of meeting up with mammals or other sea life along the reefs or small islands is just overwhelming. And if scuba diving isn't something that you like to do, maybe surfing.
Well, I'm Pablo Zanoki. I'm the International Media Officer of the Latin American Surfing Association. Here we are at the San Bartolo second pier in the 3rd stage of the Latin American Surfing Association tour, which are like waves that are part of the surfing history of the world. What I think that is amazing about Peru is the coast that is like full, rich waves potential. We have like all type of waves in a 3,000 kilometers coast. You can surf waves from 2 foot to 20 or maybe 25. You can surf hollow left, hollow right. You can surf beach breaks. You can surf left point breaks, right point breaks. You can surf any kind of waves over here. The waves are uncrowded, there are no sharks, the people is friendly, the food is amazing, And I don't know, Peru is for surfing is probably one of the top 5 countries to come and visit. And also you can party, you can meet girls over here. The people is great, and well, I invite you all to come over here and enjoy Peru.
I'm Magali from Around the World Traveling with George. And today we are at San Ramon Hacienda with Mr. Carlos Elias, who is the owner of the farm. Please, Mr. Carlos, can you tell us about that you produce on your farm?
Nosotros tenemos en la agricultura muchos años y en esta hacienda producimos básicamente espárragos, uvas, pecanas y criamos estos maravillosos animales que son tradicionales en el país, que son los caballos peruanos de paso.
Okay, Mr. Carlos, can you show us your hacienda, please?
Encantado. Vamos.
What Carlos has explained is that he is the owner-operator of quite a large hacienda there near Ica, Peru. He raises asparagus, grapes, and pecans, and also he trains the horse that he's on. He has a very, very special horse. Please watch the gait of this horse and the front hoofs. You will see that the rider has very, very little motion and the horse absorbs all the motion, so it makes it quite comfortable to ride all day long without getting lower back problems or being exhausted from the horse ride.
Todo se ve muy bien. Hemos tenido una buena producción este año. Está viniendo un segundo brote a las plantas. Está todo bastante sano. Plantas de uva, plantas de espárragos. Estamos muy contentos.
In Peru, you'll find quite large asparagus fields, and that's what we're looking at this time. Carlos has ridden out to inspect one of his fields. As Carlos rides back in, listen to the sounds made by the horse's hoofs. It's quite a beautiful rhythm. In Peru, you'll find beautiful cotton fields, and in a moment, Magali will show you how they process some of the world's finest Pima cotton.
This is how we tin the world's best cotton here in Peru.
The bale of cotton has been compressed. A young worker is opening the cage now. In just a moment, we'll see, after he puts some wires around it, the hydraulic press opens and the bale of cotton expands. This is the fine Pima cotton we saw earlier from the field. Once it's out of the baler, apparently it is weighed, wrapped, and as you'll see in the next shot, there are hundreds and hundreds of these bales of cotton in the storage area here waiting to be shipped throughout the world. Fine Peruvian Pima cotton.
I'm Magali from Around the World Traveling with George. And today we are at Vista Alegre Wine Factory with Mr. Rodolfo Vasconi, who is the manager of production. Please tell us about your grapes and your factory.
En el Perú y sobre todo en la ciudad de Ica hemos encontrado un clima propicio para el desarrollo de la uva quebranta, emblemática en la elaboración de los piscos peruanos, como así también variedades aromáticas, entre ellas la albilla, el torrontel y la italia. Dentro de la elaboración de vinos tintos se destaca la uva tempranilla, malbec, cabernet sauvignon y merlot. Y dentro de los blancas, chenin, Pedro Jiménez, sauvignon blanco y chardonnay.
Mr. Rodolfo, what is this area?
Esta área es nuestra área de destilación de pisco.
And what is a pisco?
El verdadero pisco es aquel que proviene de la destilación de los vinos provenientes de uvas quebranta.
Sand and fun. Magali at the dunes.
We are in the dunes doing buggy tours.
It's a little hard to tell from the video because of the brightness of the desert and as the buggy flies through the hills here, but they are quite steep, as you'll hear from the screams, and they just go on for, it seems, hundreds of miles. It's just really a beautiful place, a very pleasant temperature, and the driver was doing quite a nice job with up and down the hills. As I say, it's hard to tell the grade, but as we come up over the ridge here, you can see off in the distance just how vast this area is. The hill here that we're coming up on, you'll see as we round this little corner and we go down, these are quite steep, and if you can see the sun flaring, and like this one here, as you see we go up around, it's going to be like a 60 or 70 degree angle that we're shooting back down the hill, and it is quite exhilarating to do this. This is the buggies we're in here, this is the style of the buggy, and people are just standing on the edge of a sand dune. What the buggy rides are all about is that you go out, and you can see here they're getting sandboards and stuff like that out. The drivers park the buggies on the top of the ridge, and you get out and surf down or slide down the dune. And that's what you'll see coming up. Oop, oop, here's a real steep one. Up and over we go. And that one was almost straight down. It was really a good one. But, and look at the angle here. You can see the angle going around the edge here. It's just unbelievably beautiful to do this, and it's quite a nice adventure. As we continue on our little sand adventure here, we come up and we'll do a little respite, and Magali has a little surprise of how fun it actually is to sand surf. And around we go, and we'll come up here, and here's Magali.
We are here again, trying another exercise. Hi, George.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Good luck, Magali. Something for the camera. Good.
The cameraman can't keep from laughing. It seems Magali was just more than willing to put her all into the sand surfing. From all ages and all styles, this is really a fun place to visit. It's just outside of Ica. There are great restaurants at the Oasis, which we'll soon be getting to, and this was just a really, really fun day. And as you can see, for all styles, we even have the classic foot dragger here. The sand is very light and fluffy, kind of like a baby powder. Very, very nice place. And when you view the next clip, you're going to see a picture-in-picture come up. That is a view down in front of the sand buggy. And if you look up over the people's shoulders right now, you're going to see this huge sand mountain that we just came down. It's just unbelievable, an unbelievable ride. So exhilarating.
I'm Magali from Around the World Traveling with George, and I hope that you have enjoyed our trip at the Huacachina Oasis sand dunes.
The road to the Nasca Lines. After leaving Ica, we head south on the main road to the Nasca Lines, where we pass through quaint little villages and just beautiful scenery. The road's cut through a mountainous region. Just a beautiful valley that we're approaching on. They call it the Grand Canyon of Peru. I don't know how applicable that is, but it is beautiful, rich farmland. What you're going to see here in just a moment as the camera pans through the area. A beautiful sunny day with beautiful mountains in the background, a very peaceful area. Look close in the field, you see some men and horses working. As the camera pans back, we will zoom in, as we just did on a gentleman with his horse and his plow, a horse-drawn plow, which is not so commonly seen anymore, at least not in the States, but in Peru you do occasionally see this. In the next field over you may see a large tractor pulling the plows. This is farming in Peru. A lot of hard work, and the gentleman has a full day's worth of work cut out for him, it looks like. Continuing on our journey to the Nasca Lines, there are some landmarks which you'll go by on the highway, and this is called the Stone Face. And obviously, if you look at it close enough and look at the outlining, you'll see that, yes, it does look like a stone face. The Maria Reich Museum, a very quaint, small museum, and yes, it's worth a visit. You'll see some of the original drawings and diagrams that she used, the original plot maps. You'll see a collection of artifacts, a mummy, some drawings, paintings, all attributed to Maria Reich. There is a small work area which keeps her bed and table that they have as a display, so you can clearly see what her lifestyle was like. It's a nice little museum. It's worth a stop. Her memorial is just outside of the museum, and you may even encounter a llama or two while walking to the memorial. The Nasca Lines. This is what your trip is all about. The geoglyphs in the sides of the mountains and across the desert. Unbelievable in size. We're flying about 3,000 feet right now, and I'm actually hanging out the window of the airplane with the camera. This is the astronaut. You can see where I have highlighted the astronaut, and the lines fade up and down so you can depict where he is on the side of the mountain. This is the hummingbird. Again, I have outlined the hummingbird so you can see what you're seeing from the airplane, but find it much easier. One of the difficulties with flying is actually being able to spot the geoglyphs on the ground. More details and more geoglyphs in a later show.